Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Vulsa. I'm still in the first day of my new KVK, and we finally got, a teaser about the new infantry heroes coming out. That's great, but they also dropped some patch notes on us, and these patch notes honestly are a little confusing, so let's go through them real quick. First skill, Ferandal, buff to Ferandal. Previously pretty straightforward. He does some physical damage and inflicts cowards. Now he does physical damage to the target legion and also does extra physical damage for each enemy legion near the target legion, up to 500, and you still get the cowardice, right? Now this is sort of like, it reads like it's a single target buff if you're in an AoE situation, right? So this still seems like it only does damage to the single target, but if there's more enemy legions near you, you're going to do more damage to that single target. Alright, hey, that's great, a buff for Ferandal, I love it. Alright, second, we got a buff to Theodore. So basically what Theodore does is he builds up marks of Consul's marks every time he puts a debuff on the enemy, and he does extra skill damage. Now basically what happens is he gets a free 3 stacks when he rushes in, either using Unyielding Rush or Wild Barrage. Wild Barrage is basically the Elk Rider equivalent of that. So when you start combat, presuming you get that Unyielding Rush off or you get that Wild Barrage off, Theodore is going to immediately fill up his Consul marks and so do more skill damage the first time through. Alright, kind of a minor buff, but I think Theo needed, so I like it there. Alright, so let's move on to the third one. This is Gorish, as if Gorish needed any buffs. Okay, so the old skill, he gets an attack bonus when he rallies cities or strongholds, no issues there. The new skill still gets that same attack bonus, but now he inflicts a cowardice debuff if 1, the garrison captain is an infantry hero, and 2, there are other attacking legions in the siege, right? And the more attacking legions, you get it up to a 40% debuff, and what the debuff does is it makes the garrison captain, the garrison army, inflict less counterattack damage. Okay. This is a little ambiguous to me. I'm not sure if this is the rally Gorish is in has multiple legions in it, or if this is like a pro-swarm buff to Gorish that encourages you to attack an infantry garrison with Gorish and a couple other rallies. Like you send in Gorish, then you send in a Magzay or some other rally, and Gorish would inflict the coward debuff, making the garrison counterattack do less to everyone. Like I said, it's a little ambiguous the way they wrote it. I think it's the pro-swarm one, and I think this will encourage people, encourage alliances to launch multiple rallies. Alright, so moving on to number 4, Tohar's buff, defensive fortifications. Okay, Tohar is a garrison hero, and his old skill increased the garrison army attack. Okay, when, provided you have over 50% units remaining, no issues there. The new skill reads very strangely. When you garrison a city or stronghold, you still get that same buff, period. Each time Earth Conduit is cast, it hits an extra 3 enemy legions. So you look at Tohar, Earth Conduit is his first skill, and basically every 3 normal attacks, once per rage cycle essentially, you do a bunch of extra skill damage. It's unclear to me if this buff to Tohar only applies when he's the garrison captain, or if it applies all the time. If it only applies when he's the garrison captain, that's almost interesting. I'm not going to say never, but just short of never, should Tohar ever be your garrison captain. You never want mages in a bastion, in a pass, or something like that, and you'd only ever want them in your city if you have 80% magic troops for some reason in your city. So Tohar should almost never be the garrison captain. If, on the other hand, this applies all the time, then this buff is super strong. Earth Conduit triggers 3 times, but you see the way it's written. The skill's called Earth Conduit, and he channels Rage at the Plateau, dealing damage, basically for 3 ticks. So there's really 3 possibilities here. 1, it only applies when he's the garrison captain. I don't freaking care. 2, it applies all the time, but it essentially only hits 1 time. I think that's the most likely, and that's pretty good. Or 3, it applies all the time, and it ticks 3 times. That would be a massive buff. I think it's the second one. I think he's going to do 350 AoE to up to 3 extra enemy legions. That's really good. Tohar and Bert were a good march anyway. This is a nice buff to them. Okay, finally we got Thunderlin's buffs, and frankly Thunderlin needed some buffs, so I'm very happy about this. So she puts a ticking dot on the enemy, and that dot can not only hit the enemy, it can also hit nearby enemy legions. It does some damage. It also has a nice effect of preventing whatever gets hit by it from going into a city, going into a bastion, something like that. So she had some really good utility. One of the issues with it, however, is if you killed the enemy legion, that dot would go away. Now it no longer goes away. It can still, it'll hang out in the area and hit enemy legions. Okay, that's a great buff. That we needed that change for a long time. The second buff here is actually very strong here. So she has a skill, Thunderclap, and originally it had a chance to deal additional damage to the target, whatever you're hitting, or a random enemy legion. Now the chain says it has a 30% chance to deal extra damage to the target and enemy legions, up to 3 targets in total, right? So the enemy legion you're targeting and 2 additional targets, right? That's huge. So originally you had a 30% chance to do 450 damage factor. Now you got a 30% chance to do 1350 damage factor, provided you have at least 3 enemy legions in the area. That's a massive buff. I'm very happy to see it. The G3 mages, honestly, were kind of lagging a little bit behind, and this should hopefully bring them back up to par. All right. I'm really interested to see these changes implemented in the game. Sometimes the translation on these things is a little off, and like I've gone over here, there's a couple things here that I'm not 100% sure how they're going to work. But in generally speaking, I'm very happy with these buffs. I'm very happy to see them, and I look forward to using. I use all these heroes in the battlefield, and I look forward to using them and seeing how these change, how these heroes perform. All right, that's all I got for you today. Until next time, you stay classy, Belleron.